Five.
All right. This is the Senate, this is the H.955 Conference Committee. We're back after a break, talking amongst ourselves. I think it's in the work of the House.
Great, thanks. So yeah, we spent some time together, essentially reading back through the side by side, sort of, again, sort of going to share the appreciation of all of us contributing. There's a nice package of language here. I think what we'll do is sort of go through this in a very fast page by page way and just sort of talk about the areas where we're ready to accede to the language that the Senate has put in here. And that will allow Ledge Council to sort of track it and modify as needed. So does that sound like a okay plan? Okay, so starting on page 1, the findings and intent language. No problem there. Although we did comment that usually the Senate doesn't do a lot of intent language. Good catch. Yeah. Moving on to page 4, same accepting of the language on page 4. Moving into sort of mapping time, I thought maybe when we get into mapping time, we can talk about that probably when we were bringing tomorrow. But I just would note that the choice you made is actually one that we also discussed a fair bit, especially since we had on the committee Grand Isle representative and a Milton representative. And it mostly had to just do with water and bridges. And that the services that funnel up to the islands come from the sort of the Milton's, Colchester areas north. And that's because that's where the bridge is, that's where the population center is. The only other bridge is way up north, going over toward Albert. So that just to put that in, and I'm not bringing this up as a bone of contention, but just I was reminded as I was looking at going, now why did we do that? That's it. Anyway, so sort of holding on some of the mapping stuff, except to say the addition of the career technical centers that are independently governed. Appreciate that addition. Moving on to page 11. Go right on.
Is there a light that we just can't see?
No.
Thank you.
Right.
No, but I don't see.
Yeah.
Are you still meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll be going, we're on a break right now.
Sure.
No, we're done.
You're done.
Page 11, the part in yellow, I think we're fine with, but I would just throw out for a conversation. We could also just leave it up to the CSIS to decide however they want to do it. I'm sure they would probably do it in a manner that is similar to this. So basically, we are fine with that language, but in case we want to discuss it further.
So we're seating and that's you were doubting yourself, I think.
Yes. Okay, CISA membership adjustment proposals. Appreciate the addition to this and accepting that.
Can we go by sections? Pages. So
Right at the bottom of section 2.
Both, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
We'll say what we
So-
want to.
I think we're on 2A. Section 2A on page 14.
I was getting ahead of that, but yes.
Okay.
Yes, sort of the reworking of the language here, fine with that.
Can I ask a question about
yeah.
this section? Actually, I should have
It's your section, so sure.
asked you. I said I wasn't involved in doing most of this, but this would take this expansion of their services to include professional development, curriculum, transportation, and facilities. Start place on 7/1/27. Is that the correct date? Okay.
No, wait, no, I was just going, I hadn't thought about the date.
So I'm a little concerned that will they be able
Let me
to,
see the date.
in the blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'm just wondering if the CISA's,
Think about
that's like less than a year, then they've gotten up and running to have them being able to do 7 different things.
So I would, not to debate your addition of language, but we, in here and in another spot, it does say when requested and when approved by the CISA. So I suppose if they weren't ready to.
Oh, I suppose that's probably
The
okay.
CISA could say,
I just didn't want to overwhelm them in their first year
Absolutely.
that they're suddenly trying to figure out how they do all of these things. Because transportation in particular, I think it's going to be a really hard one to
yes,
figure out.
Yeah.
But as long as there's an out for them, I think it's okay. Meant to ask you when we were
No,
in our,
it's okay.
so
That's
sorry.
That's okay.
section 2B, that's just something that needs to happen. Okay, we are on pages 16 and 17, and this is the section 13. We just were on the right side there, just that we were having a discussion about good faith and bad faith, as both terms are used. I'm not sure we needed to define it, but I do sort of wonder in presenting this on the floor, if somebody says, is there a definition for it? Or is it you know it when you see it? Because we refer to good faith here, but then under the school construction, we talk about acting in bad faith when they want to be consistent.
Yeah, and I will admit that John and I had a debate about this good faith versus bad faith something, and good faith is the default, like you assume that everybody here is acting in good faith.
Yeah.
I just got up and walked out and yelled at you all, then you'd be like, oh, well, that's bad faith. It's sort of like, you know it when you see it, but it's hard to define what it is. But I don't know, it has caused lots of questions.
John's wants to add some thought.
John Grady, Lead Council, just one thing that Senator Hardy and I had discussed with whether to define or not is that if you do define what bad faith participant is, you essentially people give the roadmap as to how to misbehave.
Yeah. Oh,
We are,
that was the point that convinced me not to define it.
I love that.
Okay.
and it's a facilitator's decision, right, as to whether they're acting in good faith. And later on, when we talk about bad faith, this is really kind of just a lawyer language question. Is the opposite of good faith bad faith, or is it not in good faith?
I would distinguish bad faith from not in good faith. I think there's space between it. Like bad faith is, I think of as almost like you were saying, something you recognize. It is a discretionary call, but someone could act in a sort of neutral manner maybe and not be a bad faith participant, whether they're. Yeah, I think bad faith is like a strong term is the way that it sounds. You're welcome.
Great.
Can I
Yep.
ask? So would bad faith we're not calling for sort of rulemaking or defining on this?
Now we've got a red bar.
This is just the floor being called back to session.
It takes a really long time to get everyone back at this hour.
Yeah.
Would bad faith basically implicitly need to be defined by AOE in order to do their work?
No, I think what John was saying is the reason why we decided not to define it is because if you define
Yes, then we
acting
give
in
the
good
roadmap.
faith, then, or bad faith, then you tell people how to be,
Okay.
how to avoid, what to avoid, like, oh, well, as
Right.
long as I sit at the table, as long,
Okay.
no, then I'm not acting in bad faith.
Right. Okay. Still section 13, pages 18 and 19.
Was that us keeping it open or us?
I guess if it requires further discussion by anybody, I was being neutral on it.
Okay, cool. I wasn't trying to guide you in any direction.
We're not,
I think for the time being, let's let it.
I'm gonna have to get hard closure.
Okay.
yep,
Okay. Pages 18 and 19, this is essentially you all kind of tightening up the reporting process, which we can agree with. On to. If we're still in section 13, and we're on page 20. Was a legal question I had. This is not a question of whether we agree or don't disagree. I was just curious to ask if we talked about whether a CTE shall dissolve, but an independently governed CTE that is its own school district, can it dissolve without a vote of the electorate?
As St. James Office said, no, there's a whole separate process for that in chapter 37. But this is an analysis of whether
Right.
it should dissolve.
Yeah.
So it's not a.
It was a question that popped into my head as I was thinking about, like, what does it mean to dissolve?
And there would still be a vote to dissolve it.
Okay. All right. Over to 21, and I'm just going to call this out in appreciation of the sort of emphasis on isolated districts that pops up here from time to time. And we agree with the language that's there. I would say section 13A. Also calls out isolated districts, but in this case, it's the eligible school districts. These are the ones who don't want to be picked for the team, I think. Is that correct?
Yes. It's not the.
Well, this one is for the districts that have wanted to merge, but they.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Yes, this
They
provides.
didn't get picked for the team.
This
Yes, they
provides
want
the
to be on the
process for doing
team. They can now come in with a charter change.
Up to 13E, which is the moratorium. Would you just talk a moment about that and that being put in?
Yeah, when we were talking through the sort of pieces that needed to happen, to make sure we have the playing field set for school districts to discuss mergers, if districts are leaving one district, and there could be a lot of ins and outs and wanting to say, okay, this is where we're starting the map, and districts can merge from there rather than having districts leaving in order to merge somewhere else or to avoid merging.
And there's why I just did cover the 2035, but that sort of matches up with the full.
Exactly. That matches up with the foundation formula basically being in effect. So then districts will know at that point what their financial situation is as well. And then they can move if they feel like they want to at that point, but.
Through this process, a district wants to move from a unified district. Well, it's during this.
There's a whole process in chapter 11 to withdraw from a district.
Okay, but it's there now.
Join another is a whole other process.
But if
Yeah.
these things get rearranged, we'll make sure there's flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay, the Secretary of State report, very important. The members which from CT. So there's a. Okay.
I guess what I would offer here, and I'm sorry, this is a surprise, we didn't talk
Yeah.
about this before, is a question of if we want to instruct that the governor's recommend includes this in its budget. Which is something that we do.
Sure.
In other
So,
places,
yeah,
right?
because
So
it would have
13C.
to be the FY
28 budget,
28 budget.
right? FY,
Yes, the FY,
yeah,
we're doing the 27 budget.
yeah, so,
FY 20,
yeah,
yes.
because if we don't get this until we're fairly far along in the budget process when we get this report, and I know they want longer to actually make the report, but the actual number could be in the governor's recommend, so that there's space.
Yeah, the concern is, and I talked to the Secretary of State about this report, and this was back when we were still planning on November of 28. So I think that was an even harder thing to coordinate the November election with these. But they requested a January 15th date because they're running an election this year and don't have time to think about the next election when they're trying to run this election so much.
So rather than moving the date up on the report, to just ask that the number itself be part of the governor's recommend, and then we also get the report.
But we won't know the number until
This is going to recommend usually come out.
Which is like a week before that.
Why don't we say something like the governor's recommended budget shall include an estimated amount or something like that, because it, I don't know. Well, I mean, we could, I understand, I think that makes sense. I just I don't want to, put the cart before the horse with the Secretary of State's report, because if the governor puts some money in and then the Secretary of State is like, actually, no, it's going to be this amount, then there's this.
Okay, let's keep on talking about it. It doesn't, not huge. Okay.
All right, we're at section 14, guidance for major committee groupings. Again, this is sort of mappy stuff that we probably will need to do a little bit of a detailed discussion on. However, the inclusion of the CTE centers is fine. Okay, which now brings us to 15. And again, just wrote the word definition because that's where the that base. I appreciated the discussion we've had about that. Page 30, section 16A, again, calling out attention to isolated districts. Certainly accept that. And we're changing the roots to merger.
So here's one we haven't, just this tiny we haven't got to see them, but I'm just wondering whether, should there be a determination by the board based on what the facilitator said that it was actually bad faith? So there's some, what if they said, no, we didn't?
We haven't gotten to that part.
What's sort of the appeal process?
Or keep it maybe simple, and just saying the board show, based on the facilitators, whether there's the board show, whether, or something, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't, maybe I'm worrying about it too much.
Let's worry about it next year.
Well, I mean, they will have already started to work.
They will start to work, but they wouldn't be making enough.
I don't want to make it a big deal, but if we could just do a quick change and have the board actually make the final decision, it might be a good thing, but.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Merger. Okay, we are up to the date changes. So up to
Where are
30,
you?
well, I'm up to section 18.
We didn't do 16, did we?
Wait,
Did I jump over
I
something?
thought we accepted 16
The big-
and we're
Yes.
accepting 17
Okay.
as well?
Yeah, yes, we're just changing. the
Okay.
word from
Just
there.
We're just trying to be tight, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. They just. So this is the move up of the date to 2030.
We're gonna need to have a longer conversation on the date.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just kind of.
But the other language in here, separate from that. This is the contingency, which we, will need to keep open for a little while. And then section 18A. 19, we're moving into,
That's the widget.
we're now on section 24. Yes?
Yeah.
Am I jumping ahead? Okay, and this we also need to continue discussing. Just, we really need to understand how it could work.
All right. We're up to 27.
Delightful edits.
Introduced budgeting. No changes there. Up to 29, average grade size. I would describe us as just needing to think on this a little bit more. And frankly, we had a very brief discussion about it. I think we think that the approach is probably the right approach. We want to think about the number.
Meaning the approach on grade.
Yeah. This brings us up to 29A, which is the removal of the definitions. Going to hold there as well. This, I think, can move a lot of things forward if we have it in there, and we're just giving it more thought. class size minimums coming into being. Let's hold on that for more discussion as well. Paragraph 30, I think we're about to blow through a whole bunch of language. I'm gonna keep going.
So, we're moving into tax stuff.
Yes. Why don't you try to-
Essentially, all of the tax language is great. Thank you. I would love if, whoever is on finance next year, won't be you.
Won't be me.
I do think this appeals problem is one that we need to solve, but I don't know if this bill is the place we're gonna solve it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or not appeals, I'm sorry, mistakes, basically. The grand
Oh,
list mistakes, that's the
Yes.
only piece that but it's
Is this the?
sort of,
Section.
it was slightly outside the scope of the bill in the first place, and it's certainly outside the scope of this committee of conference to resolve, so I just want to say, like,
36.
please work on that next year.
Or no?
No, this is your.
I'm all the way,
At 58, right?
Oh, wow. Oh, 56.
yeah. Understood.
thanks.
Tell us where you're at.
I am moving 58, 59 is fine. I am now in school construction.
Okay.
And what I think we would say here is really like, so appreciate how much you strengthen the process and the language, timelines and all of that here. Want to sit down comparing the numbers and how they fit together once, John's been able to put together that little document on it. And then just want to make sure that we are closing any date loopholes that we have. To make sure that there isn't, we're not just sort of trapping anyone without getting any districts that aren't going to get their needs met. That sort of every year subject to either the yield bill rules or the 955 rules, one or the other. But those are the sort of two places that we might want to make changes, just the percentages, and dates. But the rest of it's great.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
The one thing and I think this is what Seth was talking about, that we were back to the conversation about bad faith
Yeah,
factor, which is, where is it? Does it show up in here?
it is somewhere in here.
Yes.
Where
Where
I
is it
found it.
from?
It's on page 79, section 74 of legacy debt aid.
Okay, so the one thing that, this would be the facilitator making the determination about a bad faith participant.
And that's where we would want an appeal.
And I was,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yep.
maybe there could be an appeal to the secretary.
Yep, that makes sense.
Secretary of the board.
Does that make sense?
We can figure that out. State board.
I hear you. Yeah.
Okay,
Just because it's a lot to have
It is.
one person decide. And the stakes are fairly high.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's a good provision to have, because I don't think people should, come to these and be a jerk about it.
No.
But there could be bad blood or something.
And so let's keep on working on dates, percentages and appeals for that. Warning language, I'm moving through section 77A. Agreeing with you on that.
Actually, we back
Yep,
up.
sorry.
This is just a question that popped up as I'm on page 81 and 82.
Oh, that's not, yeah, actually, great.
Oh. We were talking about language that would sort of say, here's what your rate would be. The estimated supplemental restriction tax rate would be if you got 30%, here's what you would be if you got 75%. I'm just sort of thinking back to the old days. Actually, that's a hard vote to have if you don't actually know what you're getting. It just occurred to me that in the old days, you knew how much you were getting before you voted on it.
Right, and this was partly, as John has said a few times, orders of operation, like, so they may want to go out for their bond vote to the voters so that they know what they've been approved before they can apply. They have to know what they're applying for before they get state aid.
Yeah.
So they can get the full cost of the program approved by the voters, but then do like what we often do is say, well, we're gonna get a grant, or we're gonna get the state aid to cover the rest of it. So this was attempting to tell voters what the sort of range of state aid could be.
So just the way I would imagine it is, Woodstock just passed this like really interesting, after like a lot of years, was able to pass something that looks a lot like.
Right, so you're really, it's
That's
almost like a contingency vote, like.
Yeah.
it's not good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm through, going through warnings, and I'm on transitions, I think. And we've talked about that we need to talk dates and contingencies. Your change to the tasks of the education finance oversight
Yes.
groups are, I think, a really interesting way to keep, both to keep them in the loop of the regular happenings of the process, which they could get detached from without this.
Mhm.
And another check on making sure the legislature fully funds the foundation formula. It's
Exactly.
really artful, thank you.
That was why we added it.
I think that's it.
Finish things down a little.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk maps now, or is that tomorrow?
It probably should be a tomorrow project, but it's gonna be a little more looking. So maybe tomorrow, if you could kind of talk about the whys within the grouping guidance, that would be helpful, and including the, there's also a number difference. We have 21 of these here down to 18 with it. I think that'd be great, and same with the whys in the one CISA change. I would say that some of my questions would be, as we look through it, is, well, in some of the areas, why were the changes made? And then maybe we all should talk a little bit more about Chittenden County, where I think we ended up with ours having more mergers, but fewer standalone, don't need to merge districts than yours did. Anyway, that's all.
So I wonder if at our first meeting tomorrow, we could do maps. We could attempt to close maps and attempt to close school construction for like first meeting of the morning.
Sure.
Of the day.
Okay.
Does that feel doable or overly ambitious?
Yeah, depending on what closing, because in the end, we need to have everything be a package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did this last year,
Mhm.
notion of closure.
A pencil closure rather than pen closure.
Absolutely.
Are these maps available on our website?
Yeah.
They are.
Yes.
Okay. So I can blow up the land.
And these are, these, it should be noted,
Those are the recent Senate. Those are the maps that we used.
These are the CISA maps?
That's the CISA, that's the Senate CISA, and that's the Senate.
Okay, thank you.
all right, oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
you'll need to tell us like what's incorrect on this as well. It's just that, I'm guessing it's like
I'll have to compare, but
Payne Mountain or something.
Payne got moved, yes, because we got bombarded with requests to move Payne Mountain, so we did. And we moved a lot of districts because we got requests to move. So, and I don't remember them all, but a lot of them, our maps are based on testimony. It's the real.
And I will also throw out there that John Adams or one of the people in his office stand ready to help us if we need to actually
Thank you for making sure they were available.
Thank you.
Also, your iPhone has a magnifying glass in it.
That's a good question.
I mean, I'm not saying you should.
So I have a car at 8. I have a car.
Okay.
Mine.
Okay,
And I actually, if I texted Trevor, I don't think anything.
I think we're
I
tied
think
up.
we're
into
tied
9.
up 8 to 9, and then I have yield from 9. Or,
Senate calendar post.
Nine thirty.
thanks. Wonder if we could do 10:15.
Let's just see it, let me just see if the Senate calendar.
Beth and I are
Probably,
totally flexible.
but yes, I mean theoretically, unless we really. For
I
some
don't think
reason,
they're at the end.
It's not posted yet.
okay, but.
Yeah, I don't know
Should we
what's
say-
up tomorrow.
Why don't we say yes,
To 10?
10:15,
10:15.
10:15?
Okay.
That's fine.
and,
You on that? Please.
oh yeah, did you just take us off?
No, I just asked if we could.
Want to be taken off? I'm sorry.
I think we're ready, we're ready, so 10:15.